Okay. Are you guys ready? So what I want you guys to do, I'm gonna, I want to bring up, I'm gonna have work with 3 different images. So I want you guys to bring up the old image again. We have one more tool that we didn't get to yesterday that I want to talk about today. And then after we go over that tool, we also want to show you some other applications. We want to show you how to use it for something, perhaps a little more complicated. You can play with that a little bit. And then we want to get into something that's probably a little bit more practical. So there were 3 images in that retouch folder. So go ahead and open up all 3 of them. But we're going to start with this old image fella that we were playing with yesterday. Now I know some of you guys were just going for it and doing a great job with the clone stamp and the healing brushes. But the one tool I wanted to show you guys that we didn't get to yesterday is something called the patch tool. The patch tool is nested with the healing brushes. And what the patch tool does that the other tools are okay at, but the patch tool is better, is that the patch tool can handle, it's somewhere between the clone stamp and the healing brush. Like I said, this is all kinds of like, it's like scalable. The patch tool is really great for 2 things, irregular shapes and areas of like edges of contrast. So David was doing an awesome job with this and had it all cleaned up. And one of the only areas where he maybe had a little bit of an issue was that area on the shoulder, that white little patch on the shoulder. That's a tougher image or issue to deal with the healing brushes and clone stamp tool. I mean, you can do it, but it takes a little bit of time to do it. The patch tool is fabulous for this. So I want you guys to watch what Nicole does. She's going to zoom in on that spot. And like I said, it does 2 things great. It handles contrast, it handles irregular shapes. So the patch tool dialog works like the lasso tool. So she is going to click and draw around that white area with her patch tool and create a lasso based selection. And she's being real careful there. She's showing off. But you don't have to actually be that exact. But now the cool part, this is where the magic happens. Nicole is going to click in there and hold, and she's going to drag down the shoulder to another area of contrast. And you see it's giving you like a preview, and you just kind of line it up as best you can and let go. And it did a pretty good job. We got a little softness on the top, but pretty darn good job. So she just deselects.
There's a place on his ear.
I'm sorry?
There's a place on his ear, just out of sight right up there.
Yeah. Oh, yep. That's another great spot. So all those areas where there's high contrast and some of those tools get fooled, this patch tool is really fabulous for it. So she can move up, try and find a spot that matches the same contrast and shape, and look at that. It's gorgeous. So it's not perfect, as you can see, like there's still a touch of softness on the shoulder, but it's not bad. But this is much faster than using those other tools. Even if it just gives us like a foundation and we still have to go back a little bit with the other ones.
Right, because there's still just a little bit of white highlight right here that might look just a little odd. So you can go back through after you do the patch tool and maybe do your spot healing tool, lessen your brush size, and just run over that real quick, and there you go. Clean that up a little.
And on the shoulder where it got a touch fuzzy, you could do the clone stamp with like a little bit of opacity or something like that to touch that up. But obviously, very, very fast. And now if you zoom back out, still a touch of an edge on the jacket, but not bad. And the ear looks pretty darn good as well. So this is a small example of what it can do, there's actually a lot of other fun stuff that, I'm gonna let you guys play with this, but then we're gonna look at that Roy Hurley image, which is a much rougher restoration. And we'll talk about how you can use these same tools in there to do like, a more complicated, restoration. This Roy Hurley image is now beyond, it's not a retouch, it's a restoration. If anyone's struggling with the lasso tool, Nicole can demo this for us too. This is actually a really cool trick with the lasso, with the patch tool, is that if you're struggling with the lasso tool functionality, one of the things that you can do is that you can make a selection with anything, any tool at all, then switch to the patch tool, and then use the patch tool. So let's, Nicole's gonna go to file revert so that she has she can start over. Okay, and now she's gonna grab, any selection tool, she could, whatever she wants to do, and make a selection of that spot on the shoulder. And then grab the patch tool. And she already has a selection, so she can use the default for the patch tool is that lasso tool functionality. But if you're struggling with that, you could do the polygonal lasso tool, you could do whatever you want, and then move to the patch tool so that you don't have to struggle with that standard lasso tool functionality, which can be tough.
And that almost made a better edit than the first time.
It did, actually. That's
I
clear.
think that's way better. Probably because I had a bigger selection, so it pulled in more information to judge from.
And that can be a tougher tool to get used to a little bit.
That star is really tough.
Yeah, actually, so David just pointed out something. If you're doing a really good job and you're killing it and you feel like, I got this, I'm pro level. Yeah, deal with the tie. That's the hardest part of this photo. That's how you can tell if you're really comfortable with these tools. So, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit more time to play. Please ask questions, and then we'll start to look at some. I want to show you some other, like one more complicated image that's practical. It's a good skill, and it's I think that you guys will appreciate it. It has application for a lot of people. And then also a practical application that's more of a vanity retouch, where it's just an image that, it's not necessarily damaged, but what if you're using these tools on an image that you're enhancing because, it's not that it was a bad photograph, it's just like, blemishes and things like that, of that nature. lines under her eyes, like we looked at yesterday, the vanity retouch aspect. Yeah, you look like you're having fun.
Oh, yeah, I just dropped off the zero, it was Van Gogh. Poor guy.
You can do that. That's the thing about Photoshop. I mean, it's crazy. Like you can do just about anything you can imagine, as you've seen from some of the examples that we showed. It takes practice, it takes time, but basically you can do just about anything you can imagine. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. All of these tools, the more you use them, the better you're gonna be with them. So. Like David was talking about yesterday, he actually has experience with some of these tools, but he kind of got away from doing as much editing. And now he's like, it's riding a bike. He's just hopping back on there. He's killing it now.
It was a long time.
Oh, yep. See, Nicole did a nice job. Can't even hardly tell now.
Well, and part of that, when you're doing patterns, so what I did on this,
Oh,
let me
much
go back a little bit.
Well, she's got practice. You got lots of practice.
So all of these white spots are what we want to fix, but this is a pattern tie. So what I did was I sampled, I want to take this line right here and put that right here. So what I did was I sampled with my alt click, sample that. Now come over here, and I'm not paying attention to where my brush is. I'm going to pay attention to where my crosshair is and follow along where that crosshair is so that I can make sure to copy that particular pattern all the way up. And then that puts that same, because there's a repeating pattern right here. So then also, conversely, take like this line right here, do the same thing. I'm going to start at the top, and then I'm going to come down here, and again, follow where that crosshair is to where I want to stop, so that I can repeat that pattern. And then maybe like in here. So I'm following the crosshair the whole time. And then every once in a while, just like, okay, there's, it's just filling in the white spot.
Now, something that she's doing that is like, this takes practice. The clone stamp tool can be tricky in this respect. And Nicole is a little bit better practice at it than, the average person. She is just innately, she knows I have to resample and I have to pay attention to distances. Because she was like, it was just seamless. Like, I don't even know if you guys realize, like every time that she actually has pressed Alt and clicked to resample again, she just does that muscle memory. And then she was talking about starting way up and giving herself space. Because if you sample in a spot and you start painting around, you have to pay attention to how far you're going to paint before you're going to run into something that's going to cause an issue.
So if I wanted to repeat, I followed this line right here to put it right here, and I sampled clear over here.
Yeah.
If I would have sampled up here and then started here, I'm getting his
Yeah.
collar.
And that is what more inexperienced folks run into. Once you have more practice, you know to pay attention to those distances, and you can do this more
Yeah,
successfully.
And that took me a long time to figure out and kind of master. Like, it was like we were joking with Diane yesterday when Jay thought, she said this damn tool instead of this stamp tool. This is one of the tools that I was like, this damn tool is useless. What is going on? Well, it's operator error. I had to learn how to use it properly.
But yes, sometimes the stamp tool is called this damn tool. So it takes practice, and once you get, you'll know when you're getting comfortable with the stamp tool when you just start muscle memory, all clicking all over the place. That's
To me,
that's
that was the best of this photo.
The
Most learning I got out of this photo was that pattern.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough one.
Well, I've never